How's it going today?
Good. Great. Thank you for having me. I love what you're doing. I love your YouTube channel and all what you got going on.
Awesome. So you want to tell the viewers who you are and what you're all about, what kind of work you do, or?
Yeah. Well, my name's Michael. I've got a beautiful wife.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 3 little munchkins that are awesome. They're the
Beautiful.
best. Sienna's 6, Nathaniel's almost 4, and then Madison is 1. They are incredible and so pivotal in my life, and I love them dearly. I am a part of an incredible team where we design and build outdoor living spaces and landscapes. We're called Curlew Landscape Design and Build. I've got a great team who is just focused on, really loving God, loving people, and loving landscapes, man. And it's been a huge honor and a privilege to be a part of such a great, mission in the workplace. And then, of course, I'm part of local church. Been going to local church for 15 plus years now.
Wow.
And it's been incredible. That's why I'm here on the Central Coast, for sure.
That's awesome. I actually knew Michael at the beginning of your local years.
Yeah.
That's
the
crazy.
very, very, very beginning.
Yeah.
I might have had long hair all the way down to here.
Because I know, I believe you went to Cal Poly.
I did.
Yeah, I think I knew Amber at Cal Poly. Your wife at Cal Poly.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that's back that's 15 years ago. It's been out of.
It's been 15.
Wow.
Let's see. Well, I got here 15 years ago. Graduated in 14. So.
Okay.
Whatever that is. 11 years out of college.
11 years.
But 15 years here at the local church.
14. So we knew each other probably about 11, 12 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, anyways, man. Yeah, man. You just want to share what's going on in your life, your story, just what.
Yeah, I would love to. Well, just to hopefully make this as concise and as direct as possible. I grew up going to church and was very much involved in my youth group up until about junior high, and we had Hume Lake, the whole shebang, and it was great. And unfortunately, in that same season of making decisions for Jesus, there were plenty of things that were pulling me away that I agreed with that, at the time, in a just an immature way, I redirected my focus off of God, and I directed it really to the world and everything that the world was having to offer. And I remember as a junior high, 8th grader, praying a prayer to God and saying, God, I know you're real. I know this is the truth. I know that we've had this relationship. But I don't want to do this right now because I want what the world is giving me. Essentially is what it was. And I remember praying like, hey, I promise you that I'm going to come back. But right now, I want the high school experience. I want the popularity. I want the fame, the drugs, sex, alcohol, the stuff that we think is cool, and that really took my focus off of God, unfortunately. And that was my drive, was all those things plus sports. I had made basketball an idol, absolutely. It was definitely like every part of every bit of my life, and then alongside that, those things I had mentioned. And so I just dove really deep into all of those things for really about 6 years. And then in the midst of those 6 years, though, I mean, man, was God knocking on my door. It was like all of the time he would reveal himself. All the time. And it was really scary. I actually lived in a lot of fear, and I think I could feel God's call for me to change my life all throughout those 6 years. But really, just ignored him. I remember saying things and even praying things, and God would show up. Yet I would still go and do those things I knew I wasn't supposed to do, and I just ignored everything. And so that was up until I was about 20 years old, and then I came here. Actually went to Cuesta College before going to Cal Poly, and I met someone there that was in one of my previous classes. We hadn't really talked before, but he was in a class that we were in the next semester, and we noticed each other. We recognized each other, like, hey, let's sit next to each other. This is the first day of math class, is what it was. And we're talking, and we're walking outside of the class, and I had seen that he had a hemp bracelet on.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, this guy definitely parties,
Oh,
asked him about that and whatnot, and he began to tell me his story about how God had changed his life.
Wow.
And just I remember the moment and where we were very clearly, because it really did feel like an anointed moment. It felt like God was like he was opening something, right?
Yeah.
And so he told me a story, and it was very similar in terms of what he was doing with what I was currently in. And I remember telling him, I know that you speak the truth. I know what you're saying is real, but I'm not ready for that. I remember just being bold and saying that. And what made that moment so wild was that my mom had come back from rehab. Unfortunately, she was an alcoholic for some years. She had come back from rehab completely transformed. I mean, I didn't even recognize her. She was totally different, physically, emotionally, every part of her. And I asked her what happened, and she said that she met God face to face. So that had happened. Then I meet this guy about a month later, and that month later was that moment. And so anyways, that new friend of mine, he began, we had class together, of course, and we would sit next to each other and began to just hang out and talk, and we were into similar things, and he would share a little bit about Jesus, and I just asked him questions, because I was genuinely curious. And he had the answers. It felt like he had the answers to the test, in a sense. And he would bring out his pocket Bible, and I didn't know it, but we were having Bible studies like almost every day.
Wow.
And I didn't, I was purely just curious and just hungry to learn. And very curious because of the story he was telling. Really curious because of his testimony. And so that started happening, just us becoming friends, and he really loved me like no one else had ever loved me. And what I mean by that is, he just did things people normally wouldn't do. He went out of his way to do things that I was like, wow, this guy really is a good dude. And so he started inviting me to church and so forth, and I would say yes and then bail last minute, the classic situation. And I finally ended up going, and I remember going into local church. It was a Mercy church, but local church, and I sat there and I looked around, and I had never seen people worship the way it was happening there. It felt like every person was worshiping, and it wasn't just this like corporate, like everyone just stand there. It was like, wow, no, that person looks like they're doing their own thing. That one's doing their own, it seemed personal. And so I was really curious, and so I started coming to church and so forth, and ended up going to a retreat through the church. And at that retreat, I was so ready to just let go and let God just rock my life. And he did, and he has ever since. And I can say that, that was May 1st, 2010, that I had truly surrendered my life to Jesus, and ever since then, it has been incredibly awesome and challenging and hard and a blessing, and I thank God for giving me new life.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, we'll go back to your childhood life. So, did you ever, like, when you were struggling, did you ever feel, like, depressed, or did you feel like, what were you feeling in, like, that darkness moment? Like, was there something that was kind of, like, triggering you, or, like, no, stay with me? Or did you just kind of, from there to the light, like, was there, like, a tug-of-war kind of, or was
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think that I was depressed. I didn't realize I was, but I absolutely was. I was so afraid of everything. I mean, the amount of fear that I lived in, the amount of anxiety. I mean, my whole life, really, I just lied about everything. It literally, I lied about the silliest things. It could be about me going to Burger King and McDonald's.
Yeah.
I would lie if it was what got me what I wanted or needed.
Wow.
And so I was just so deceived and numb to sin. Like, I was so hardened. My heart felt so stony that it was like, all the while that was happening, God was still knocking on my door, and I was like, ugh. I was like, this is real. I know that God's real.
Yeah.
But and so I was absolutely depressed. I mean, I turned to drugs big time.
Yeah.
I turned to people pleasing big time. I mean, those were my idols. The sports, drugs, people pleasing, girls, those were my idols that I just lived for, to try and be seen as something.
So from there to Jesus, giving your life to Jesus, how did it feel once you fully said, all right, Jesus, I'm going to give you all. Like, I'm going to fully just surrender. Was it like him, like, taking this old Michael out, putting this new Michael in? Or was it like, he was like, once you let it go, you were like, seeing something more beautiful on the outside?
That's good. I think what you just said about the old Michael getting out and the new Michael coming in, I definitely felt that. I mean, I was absolutely born again. I mean, I went cold turkey on everything. By the grace and the power of the Holy Spirit. Like, I had tried quitting all the things. It meant nothing without God's touch and God's hand on it. And being a Christian for 15 years now, like, there's still things that are being worked out of me. And there will be. And that's a thing that I think, as I've grown in my walk with Jesus, that I need to continue to remember, is that God calls us to be childlike and to always want to grow, want to learn, want to press forward, want to learn new things. And I think it's really easy, just as we're getting older naturally, we can think we know it all. And the older I get, the more I see that I know nothing. So
that's awesome.
I'm trying to learn more.
So now we're 2025, but what is Jesus doing now for you? What is he doing with you? And what's been an open flood of heaven for it? What is he doing with you right now?
Yeah. Well, I think that the past 6 years with having kids, it's really, there have been very trying times in my life, very hard times, specifically with my kids' health and the things that they've gone through and what my wife and I have gone through. And I think that through those things, my understanding of God the Father has been awakened. I heard a a music artist say that he learned to be a father when he learned to be a son. Like when he became a father, he understood what it meant to be a son of the Most High. And I relate to that a lot in understanding God's heart for me. And I think that what he's doing now is, what he's been doing, I should say, is helping me learn and grow in loving myself and loving who God has created me to be. Allows me to be able to love people, my wife, my family, my friends, strangers, way better and more effectively and with a really pure heart. I think that I had done ministry without really loving myself, trying to love other people. And, you know, we can only give what we receive. And so the more that I receive God's love, the more I can give God's love. And I'm seeing that in my life.
That's awesome. Awesome, bro. Oh, that was good. Before we close this video out, like the final message to the people that are watching, what would you want to say to them?
Oh man, that is a good question. Well, I would say to always be hungry to learn in every area of your life. And to, like what I was sharing before, to be childlike in your pursuit of knowing more and understanding the love of God for yourself and for others. And you can take that learning to grow and wanting to grow and being eager to grow in many facets of life, whether it's in your relationship with God, your relationship with your spouse, with your friend, your partner, your any person, and anything, whether it's your work or anything. You can grow. You never stop growing if you choose to not stop growing and to be a lifelong learner. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you again. Thank you again, Michael, for your time, your love, your heart. I just want to say you're an awesome guy. I just want you to keep doing what the Lord has for you.
Thank you.
Before we shut this video off, I just feel like the Lord wants you to know that you carry the Father's heart. And it's time to be released to people that need to hear what the Father wants to say to them. And so I want to encourage you with your propheticness and your love, that just be ready for what God has coming. And I think it's something big. And it's not going to be something that I can see or anyone can see. It's going to be between you and the Father. And it's like the Lord is about to do something for you. So, until next time, J-Love, Michael, are out.
Yeah.